In Christ, who is the image and icon of the invisible God, all things were created. All things were created in the image of God. All things are the icon of God, in whom all things hold together. That second reading today from Colossians is an ancient hymn which actually predates Paul's letter. The ancient hymn declares that all things were created in the image of God. You and I are created in the image of God. We're the icon of God. All things are. Vaxxers and anti-vaxxers are the icon of God. Palestinians and Israelis are the icon of God. Democrats and Republicans, gay and straight, Northern and Southern Irish, the Hatfields and the McCoys, the Capulets and the Montagues, the Sharks and the Jets, mainline Catholic priests and Catholic women priests are all made as an icon of God. Perpetrators and victims, neighbors and strangers, all things were created in the image of God. In 1958, long before People of the Promise existed, when Thomas Merton was 43 years old, he was in Louisville, Kentucky at the corner of 4th and Walnut, and he happened to be in the center of the shopping district on an ordinary day when he had an epiphany. He writes about it. I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all these people. They were mine and I theirs. We could not be alien to one another even though we were total strangers. It was like waking from a dream of separateness. Then it was as if I suddenly saw the secret beauty of their hearts, the depths of their hearts. If only they could all see themselves as they really are. If only we could see each other that way all the time, there would be no more war, no more hatred, no more cruelty, no more greed. All things were created in the image of God. In his book, Just Mercy, which I read, the author and the death row attorney, Bryan Stevenson, wrote about a white guard in the prison that Bryan was visiting. The white guard drove a truck that was decorated with Confederate symbols and all these racist bumper stickers. Even though it was unnecessary, unrequired to do so, he strip-searched Bryan Stevenson, a black lawyer there to defend a black defendant. He did this before allowing him to enter the prison. However, after some time, the guard heard Bryan Stevenson in the courtroom describing the terrible childhood abuse that the prisoner suffered, the defendant had suffered, and the guard softened towards Stevenson and towards the prisoner. The guard disclosed that he too had suffered childhood abuse. He discovered that all things were created in the image of God, and so did Bryan Stevenson. I, Sharon, met a husband and wife in the ICU. One was a patient, the other was the spouse. One of them had refused to be vaccinated, and the other was fully vaccinated, and disclosed to this chaplain that they argued repeatedly about this, the politics of this, right up until the day when one of them became sick. One died of COVID. The other was at the bedside day after day after day, speaking words of love, holding hands, hanging on to hope until the end, because all things were created in the image of God. Yesterday's Boston Globe included this story, maybe you saw it, about a hiker who was badly imaged when he fell during a hike on Mount Monadnock. 8 strangers helped transport him to a helicopter pad where he was lifted to a local hospital. One of them was quoted in the Globe as saying, "It was a treacherous descent." The article ended with this quote from the injured hiker: "I'm glad that the people around me were prepared not just to have a beautiful day, but also a caring day. I'm grateful to all of them." All things were created in the image of God. We all, every one of us, walk and worry and work with our fellow humans on this fragile earth. And we are all, every one of us, perpetrators and victims of global climate change. How that story ends is up to all of us, because all things were created in the image of God. We travelers are badly injured on a dangerous road, and we travelers help one another. Does it matter the religion, the political party, the ethnicity, race, gender, sexual preference, rap sheet of the travelers? O God, through whom and by whom all things were created, help us to see one another as you see. Open our eyes and hearts and minds to the icons of your love right in front of us.